You are listening to Rooted to Earth, a SAE Innova podcast.
The challenge here is to make it understanding the farmers that investing in soil has an economic cost now, but it is for long-term resilience of their work and for the next generation too. For the past decades, the soil has been forgotten. It has been for too long seen as a support of a culture and not like a resource. If we want to support a resilient agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and further organic agriculture, we really need to consider soil as central.
This is a space for real conversations, from farmers and scientists to community leaders and innovators, each of them working to bring nature back into balance. This is Rooted to Earth. Florence Arsonneau is an agronomist and the director of FiBL France. In addition to her leadership activities, she is passionate about project management supporting sustainable and local agriculture. She also loves food, and particularly the Mediterranean diet, which inspires her commitment to quality food production. Within the Gop for All project, she is the coordinator and ambassador of Solvi'Terra Living Lab. Hi Florence, thank you for being here with us today.
All right, thank you for the invitations.
What can you tell us about your background, your area of expertise and focus in your current role at FiBL?
I am an agronomist. I've worked in various countries before being at the head of FiBL France, and particularly I worked in Mediterranean region, and specifically in Morocco. And now I've been with the FiBL France for 7 years. Initially, I worked at FiBL France as a project manager and development of partnership, and now I'm the head of FiBL France for 4 years now.
Could you introduce FiBL, the Research Institute of Organic Agriculture, also highlighting its mission and actions?
Of course. So FiBL France is member of group called Group FiBL Group. FiBL is the world's largest organization specifically dedicated to research for the development of organic agriculture. The main FiBL is located in Switzerland, and there are other FiBL in France, but also in Germany, Austria, Hungary, and in Brussels. So FiBL France is located in Bio-Vallée, which is an area in the southeast of France. You can translate Bio-Vallée as organic valley. And our aim is to conduct applied research through field experiments with the farmers and directly on the farms. That means that the FiBL France conduct research on organic agriculture, but we don't have any experimental sites. We directly worked with the farmer on their farms. And we want to provide practical solutions for the farmers and also contribute to the transfer of scientific knowledge to agricultural professionals. This is our DNA, I would say.
I assume that part of your work involves fostering relationships with farmers, producer organizations, or even structures that are related to the agricultural development in the area. So, what challenges do you identify in promoting or establishing these connections?
In our place, and I could say that generally in France, there are a lot of organizations that works for the research and development of agriculture. That means that there are a lot of different organizations built up by farmers, but also technical institute, research institute, also public bodies that are involved in the research and development of the local agriculture. There are also citizen organizations. So It's quite good because agriculture is quite central for a lot of people, and there are a lot of competencies which are sometimes repetitive, but sometimes really complementary. So the challenge I see, it's a governance challenge, because if we don't want, if we really want to provide uh, uh, good answers to the farmers who are the main beneficiary of our work, we need to be careful to not being repetitive, to provide them concrete solution, concrete expertise, and being a lot of different organizations in the same place may involve sometimes competitive for fundraising also, because we all need fundraising to make our organization working. And then we need to dedicate time to know each other and to organize ourselves to work all together to provide nice projects, concrete solution that are really helpful for the farmers. No?
Would you agree with saying that communication is like the first step or and the cornerstone for keep strengthening these networks or these communities?
It's more communication. It's like more knowing each other and also really knowing the needs of the farmers. So we really need to be linked to the field, on the field, to understand what are the field problem of the farmers. And then more than communication, it's know where, who has what in terms of competencies and expertise, and then dedicate time to coordinate ourselves. It's more governance, I would say, than communication. But of course, communication is part of good governance practices.
How can you describe the link between local stakeholders and sustainable agriculture in your region?
Our region is really dynamic in terms of agriculture development, and more for organic agriculture. We have 35% of agricultural land that are certified in organic. So, and if you compare with the percentage of France, organic agriculture is like around 8%. So we have a really high level of organic production, and that shows that we are in an area where there are a lot of initiative, involvement, interest, and of course then strong connection between the different stakeholders that allow that.
Recently, FiBL joined GOP for All project, managing one of the 5 living labs spread around Greece, Spain, and France. So, what characteristics can you highlight or describe about the Living Lab in Val de Drôme?
So our living lab, is located in the Val de Drôme, which is area in the Drôme Valley, like I said, also known as the Bio Valley. We recently gave the name Solvi'Terra des sols vivants en Val de Drôme, des sols vivants en Val de Drôme, living soil in Val de Drôme. We are 5 partners in our living lab, but the reality is that we want to involve a lot of other stakeholders into our living lab. So it's the first challenge is to gather people and work hard on the good governance to make soil a main issue and a main soil health a main issue and main challenge for our areas. Nowadays, the farmers face climatic change like everywhere else, but and although they are not experiencing the same extreme climate condition as other living lab in the Mediterranean that are in the Gulf for All, farmers are already noticing impact of climate change. That said, that's true that soil health it's not the first topic we are talking about in our place, but more we're the main, the main concern remain on the water availability. In most discussion we have in within all the place the and by all stakeholders and farmers is about water availability. Um, but we do believe that soil health is really linked to resilience towards water management and toward climate change. So our aim with this program, Go for All, and creating this living lab is to make people aware of what is soil health, how can we develop good practice for management of soil health, and of also show that soil health and soil management can have a good or can have an impact in water availability for the cultures and the environment.
Sometimes it's difficult, I suppose, on the daily work, understanding how changing some practices or methodologies we are applying now could make an impact on the long term for people who is daily and for years have been doing the same.
It's really hard to know exactly how we will make farmers change their practices. That, I mean, if someone had the key, I like to know it, of course. Saying that our intention is to provide as much as possible good knowledge, good information, solid knowledge, scientific-based knowledge on how farmers can work on its soil, and then I think with also dissemination, sensibilization, and so on, making soil health as the main topic and main challenge of for the next 25 years will help for taking it into account in practice in farming practices.
So have you found good reception, like open minds to these ideas?
For now, you know that preparing such a huge project in our place needs some reflection, time of reflection. So instead of starting with a big large event and organizing a lot of workshops, in our place we decided to just first of all reflect on our objectives, what do we want to achieve with this program, and how do we want to achieve it before starting to make noise about it. So this is forthcoming, but of course we know, because we all know each other in our place, that soil our main concern of a lot of people. And even I said before that water availability is the main concern, but soil is not, is still a topic. So I'm sure that everyone will be really glad to know that there are a huge program, effort, expertise, activities and workshops that will support this work on soil. But as I said before, in our place, we are a lot of different organization and governance. It's a key issue. So that would be the first step would be to start to see how we will involve the different stakeholders on this topic.
Compare with previous projects or even current projects that FiBL is working on, what advantages do you see in producing innovation, transformation, or driving change through a living lab?
Usually, we are involved in projects that are really more focused on the specific practice or specific issue in some production system. We try to work on with scientific experimentation on the farms. So these projects allow us to involve more partner into the process and to make this topic of soil health known and shared by other stakeholders and by everyone on the place. So it's really give us the resources to address a main challenge, because sometimes our projects are more focused in one specific topic within the main challenge of climate change, for instance. But it's not so common to have these kind of resources available in one area to address this topic for the farmers, but also for the society, and then to make soil health as an important topic for the next decade.
Have you already had meetings with the farmers involved?
Not yet, no, no, no. We plan by mid-December to organize a launch event of Solvi'Terra, in which, of course, we will invite all the stakeholders we had identified that could be or could have a role in soil health in our territory, and to discuss how they can be involved in Solvi'Terra and how Gov for All can give us the tools to make Solvi'Terra alive.
In your region, you hold a strong sense of community, right?
We have a lot of initiative and innovation in our territory, and we are used to work with different stakeholders. So we are not in a place in which there is only one or two organizations that work on research and development for agriculture. There are many in our place. So that's really good, because there are a lot of possibilities, a lot of expertise and competencies, but that require times, and sometimes it might be seen as a bit competitive environment for to be able to fund to raise enough funds uh, for all this organization. But I think this is a really good start for Living Lab. This is when I had this proposition to be part of Gov for All for our territory. I thought about it and I said, okay, in our place we are used to have uh, places to discuss, and we have a culture of governance, right? So this is a really good start for Living Lab. Now we need to go deeper to make possible the development of innovation and practices that can be applied and used by the farmers. I will give you maybe an example. We would like to improve the rate of organic matter in our soil. This could be a goal. For that, there are a lot of possibility. One action could be use the compost and apply compost. Then now we want to, knowing that, we know that, we all know that, but we also realize that it's not so easy to use compost, and the farmers doesn't really use compost on their soil. So our work now with the Living Lab is to provide the tools to make the possible to use compost. So where to find a compost? Can we organize a platform of compost for producing compost in our place to keep to reuse the organic matter produced in our territory and to use it in our soil and not lose it or export it and so on. How to apply, with which material, how many compost do I have to apply, by when, etc. and etc. So now we do know where to find the competencies. We have a lot of expertise and competencies with a lot of different organizations in our place. We quite have a culture of governance that allow us to work together, even it's not always that simple. Um, but the idea with the lab, the living lab, is to be able to give answer of concrete problems of the farmers. No?
From a personal perspective, what motivates you to work in soil health?
I am really motivated to work into soil. I would say that for the past decades, the soil has been forgotten, no, and it has been for too long seen as a support of a culture and not like a resource. And I really think that if we want to support a resilient agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and further organic agriculture, we really need to consider soil as central in the production in agriculture. So my motivation is like, as a FiBL France, we can't avoid soil, and it's essential that we develop more knowledge on the soil, and how soil works, and how soil is alive, and how the farmer can work with soil and for soil to allow them a sustainable agriculture.
Can you picture in your mind how you would like your region to be transformed and look like?
Yeah, I would like my vision still remain green. Traveling in South Mediterranean, even in Spain for the kickoff meeting of Go for All, we realized that the landscape is brown more than green. We still have a lot of green in our landscape, and I really wish it remains green and all the years. So even more green than now.
Okay, and lastly, is there any question you wish I had asked you, but I didn't? Is there any topic you would like to mention or highlight?
I wanted to highlight the bridge we want to make between water availability and soil health, which is really important. Living lab is like quite a concept, not so easy to share in our place. So it's like English terminology. It's not easy to translate, and then always talking about governance. Sometimes it's it's make the stakeholders a bit tired of governance and spending a lot of time in meeting and discussion and so on. So it can be a challenge also to involve the right person or the right organization for the good purpose and the right moment, and not to overload the stakeholders, which is a main challenge, because Go for All and the Living Lab are really focused on governance, and I think it's really important, but also a driver for change could be like practical, technical solution. And so we really have to work with the stakeholders and to involve them, and try to also involve economic stakeholders like cooperatives that are economic stakeholders really important, and that play an important role with the farmers, because the farmers have contract with the cooperative. So if the cooperative is not really interested into soil, it may be really difficult for a farmer to innovate in his system, because he is engaged with a contract for a month of yield of production. So it's a big challenge on that. So for us would be to involve them, but we also not only to have to focus on governance and involving the good stakeholders and so on. This is an important activity to make them realize that soil health is investment for the future. But we also have to work on concrete actions. And that's why I said that if we want to address the cover crop, we really want to work on which cover crop into which system, and to implement when and how to manage it and give concrete solution, no? And this takes long time, and by the end of Go for All, we will not address all this, but it's really important to work on concrete activities that will give concrete answer on how the farmers can change the practice, no?
Thank you for your time.
Thanks to you. You're welcome.
This is Rooted to Earth.